Welcome to today's Explainer. We talk so much about the cloud that we sometimes forget it actually lives on the ground. So, what happens when our digital ambitions literally crash into physical reality? Today, we're unpacking a massive collision happening right now. We've got a huge geopolitical shock, a relentless AI boom, and a brutal summer heat wave all hitting at the exact same time, pushing our global and domestic infrastructure to the absolute brink.
Let's just jump right in. 86. That's the number driving global markets right this second. The price of Brent crude just crossed $86 a barrel. Why? Well, the U.S. just enforced a renewed maritime blockade on Iranian ports, oil terminals, and coastal areas. And man, this sudden escalation is already sending some pretty serious shockwaves straight through the entire energy sector.
And the chain reaction here is it's incredibly fast and it's severe. Just look at the Strait of Hormuz conflict. It's bottlenecking roughly a whole fifth of all global oil and liquefied natural gas shipments. Shipping activity is sitting at a 2-month low. We're seeing commercial tankers being targeted. And because of that, we're looking at a drastic increase in routing, insurance, and security costs that eventually trickle all the way down to everything you and I buy.
Now, here's the really crucial part, the timing mismatch. Economists are actually expecting the June consumer inflation report to show annual price growth dropping, right? Down from 4.2% to roughly 3.8%. But actually, scratch that, here's the catch. That backward-looking data completely predates this new oil spike. So while historical inflation looks like it's finally cooling down, we're staring right at the immediate threat of a brand new energy-driven inflation shock happening in real time.
And this whole situation perfectly illustrates the pivot from global macroeconomics to tech. On one side, digital ambition is just roaring. You've got chip-making giant TSMC projecting a massive 60% profit jump. Intel is pouring $5.7 billion into a manufacturing upgrade in Ireland. And SoftBank is out here estimating that AI could eventually require trillions in annual investment. Trillions! But on the flip side, we hit physical limits. This massive expansion of advanced AI computing is colliding head-on with an incredibly energy-hungry reality.
Honestly, the sheer physical toll of all this digital progress is staggering. Tech companies are literally hitting the physical limits of the power grid. Because these AI data centers require such massive amounts of steady, uninterrupted power, governments and utilities are drawing a line in the sand. They're basically saying, hey, you tech giants have to pay for your own enormous grid upgrades. They're doing this to make absolutely sure those massive expansion costs aren't just passed down to everyday electricity customers, like us.
So when you combine all these forces, they build up into a literal perfect storm, pushing against our domestic infrastructure all at once. Think about it. We've got an oil shipping conflict abroad restricting fuel. We've got the huge long-term power demands of AI data centers expanding locally, and at the exact same time, an extreme summer testing the very limits of what our power grid can actually deliver.
Which brings us directly to the weather reality exacerbating everything. A massive heat dome with desert temperatures pushing over 110 degrees is currently scorching the U.S. But you know what the real hidden danger is here? It's the high nighttime temperatures. They're completely wiping out the grid's typical nighttime recovery period. So now, heavy power consumption is extending way beyond the traditional afternoon peak, which is severely testing both public health and our power systems.
Because of these converging physical and digital pressures, the job market is shifting, and it's shifting fast. The strongest career paths right now, they belong to people whose expertise overlap. We're seeing intense demand for professionals who can bridge the gap across cloud computing, networking, data centers, and energy solutions. In today's world, you really have to understand how the software physically connects to the power grid.
So as we wrap up this explainer, we face a defining question. Can our systems actually handle protecting global energy movement while simultaneously building and financing enough domestic electricity capacity to power the future AI economy? It is a fragile, incredibly complex balance, and the answer to that question is absolutely going to define our next decade of growth.